What's up, guys? Welcome to a new video. So today we are going to talk about moon signs and romance. So a few weeks ago I did the romantic must not have for each moon sign. This week we're going to talk about, based on your moon sign, what romantically is best for you, right? So just a brief little intro. In compatibility astrology, it's obviously very, very complex. You have so many dynamics that go into the compatibility between two people, but at the core of it is the moon, right? So if you understand your moon sign and what you need, it's really a non-negotiable, especially when it comes to living with someone and when it comes to your overall happiness of what you need, how you move through life in your day to day. The moon sign is your instincts. It's what makes you happy and secure. So obviously it's very, very important to know what you need respectfully. So let's get into it. Let's start. We're gonna go a little bit of a strange order. We're gonna start with Scorpio. um so basically, Scorpio Moon is needing someone very grounding. They want someone who can sit through the ups and downs, and they can talk about anything they want to talk about, not have to repress any dark emotions or anything that comes up. They feel a lot, so the last thing they need is someone who's gaslighting their emotions or telling them, that they're, you know, feeling too much, or they're too emotional or anything like that. So it's also big on, yeah. So someone who's not afraid of the darkness, essentially. Not that they're always in the darkness or anything. They need someone who is also intimate and ready to go towards those places that some might be afraid of. So yeah, I definitely think like Scorpio moons, they, when people say they need intensity, there is this element of emotional intensity that runs through them, because it's really about, it's not really a moon sign that on a level wants to just stay the same their whole life, right? It's about evolution. It's about kind of being very aware of the shadow. So you'd probably want someone who can meet them there and who can go through what might feel like a transformative type of love, because Pluto really represents like the journey into the darkness, and then, you know through it you become stronger. So it's not for the faint-hearted. And then also, of course, Scorpio Moon, there's a certain like sexual depth and element there that's quite specific. So yeah. Okay, Cancer. um so Cancer moons, they are big time. They're nurturers, but they also, want that nurturing. They care a lot about security and about having things locked down, in the sense of like, it rules the foundations, the energetic, emotional foundation, more, yeah, energetic foundation of your life. That's Cancer, right? The IC. So Cancer moons, they obviously want a nice home. They want, and I don't mean nice in a gold digger type way. I mean, they want security. So it's the Capricorn Cancer axis. So there is that structure. There is that desire to, for a lot of them, to have a family, or to have a person that feels like a metaphorical home, and they want to, be loved as if. And I think most people want this. If, they are family. So very deep emotional connection is needed, and it's not a moon sign that I would say is here to mess around. They definitely need that sense of security at all levels. Groundedness, consistency, being able to talk about emotions. And I think with any water moon, you probably need, this definitely goes for Scorpio too, some time alone. And I think with Cancer moon, yeah, it's very much like deep emotional bonds only. That doesn't mean that they need someone who's always like crying to them and talking about their emotions, but like, And even, I'm not the person that's gonna say every Cancer Moon is like someone who's like crying all the time, and it's not like that, right? It's just that a lot of times they do actually really, really, really love their space, and because they love it so much, they want to bring someone in who also can um, enjoy it, right? Who doesn't take it for granted, and also someone who doesn't take them for granted, and that kind of sometimes there's like a mothering, not in a weird way, like instinct, right? Like a nurturing is a better way, instinct, right? So they want to not attract someone who is going to take advantage of that and just be like almost using them as a mother in a way. So it's more, especially when emotional issues come up, it's like let's handle this right now. I mean, yeah, you could say, well, Cancer isn't the best. Like sometimes Cancer can be have issues with assertiveness, right? But emotionally, like they're gonna feel things in the moment, so they, I can stand this up. They do better with people who like that. With people who are like, more like, okay, like let's figure this out right now. Okay. So Pisces, write this down. So Pisces definitely, it's about not being cut off from the magic of the world. And Pisces moons are very, very, they are like aliens, in the sense that the last thing a Pisces moon could want is someone that tells them that someone that invalidates their imagination, which is also like very linked to your intuition and to the inventiveness that is Pisces, right? Because Pisces moons, they're very, like, I want to say it, they're very, very psychic. Whether they are practicing, people who are spiritual or who are aware of like something like astrology, or even aware that they have Pisces moons or not, even ones that you'll see like big businessmen with Pisces moons, and it's like I've seen this firsthand, how they've utilized that intuition to really see through people, see who they can trust. Of course, there's the good and the bad of that, right? So romantically, a Pisces moon, there's a boundlessness. There's this feeling of like anything is possible. Neptune, and they are big givers. So the last thing they want is someone who is taking from them, trying, taking, not giving, not giving, not giving. They are very sensitive to energy, so they need some real smoothness, some real balance. Like it's almost like a Libra in a sense of like that need for balance. It's like they want harmony, and they need someone who can give them a. They don't have to believe the same stuff as them, but they can't. They can be very sensitive, Pisces moon, sometimes to energies that like there can be like a lot of projection, right? So they have to be really, really careful of not being with someone who has a sort of like a, obviously you don't want to be with someone who has like a negative view of you, but even someone who has like a distorted view of any part of them, sometimes Pisces moons can start to take that on and think like, oh, like I actually, it's very unconscious, but over time, like, oh, I actually am what that other person thinks of me, right? And same with like Pisces, it's more like, life direction is more like Pisces suns, but um it's just a very susceptible energy to other influences, right? Emotional influences. So it's like good vibes only, because if it's bad energy, they're going to take that on. So they need to have a very yeah, it should feel pretty clean. It should feel pretty clean, and they should feel very free. Very free to say whatever comes to their head. So yeah, just not be cut off from their ability to dream. And at the same time, I think opposites can attract, so they can still be with someone that's that keeps them grounded and whatnot. But it's just that the whole non-judgmental and peaceful side, and is probably non-negotiable for happiness, right? Because if you're a Pisces moon and like you're with someone who's super angry, right? We don't have to go like down always the spiritual route. you're someone who's super angry, and then when they get angry, they don't give you space. They don't let you like kind of like breathe. Like that's gonna be you're gonna go crazy. You know, you might end up drinking or doing something like that. Not drinking is bad. Just like escapism, right? Like doing something. You might end up just really unhappy. So yeah, and then just someone who understands that the sacredness of alone time that you can as a water moon in general. Okay, now fire moons. So Aries moon. So Aries moons are not they need people who I'm trying to think of the right word. They can't be with pushovers. They need someone who's mentally strong. Um, Sometimes Aries moons can be. I love them. They can be a lot to handle sometimes. Not in the bad way. Like, look, trust me, I have a lot of experience in this department, and um, I think what I love about Aries moons is that you know exactly what you're getting, and like I always say this, I would rather get screamed at and like all the truth coming at me because it's an Aries moon. It's like that emotional reaction, like boom, no repression. I'd rather have that than someone who's like holds it in and there's like passive aggressive energy. So, um, I would say they definitely need lovers that offer them independence, and it's very easy for them to wear the pants to dominate. But what happens oftentimes is that even though those positions can feel like it depends, right? Um, they can sometimes lose respect. Like sometimes they'll probe at that, and they can sometimes lose respect for people who are too big of pushovers, right? Or people who are too weak-willed. Also, as fire moons, Aries moons, it's like a lot of fire moons, like a massage moon, and it's like you kind of want to get up and go, right? So that's just like the overall flow of life is that you probably want someone who can match you in that. An example would be you wake up, you want to go, you have like this urge to go hiking or something, but then the person you're with has to like go through this whole long routine and do this and that and before and then that fire, right, is kind of like gone. So that's a very like under valued, I mean, overlooked thing with compatibility is just like that's the one thing I've seen a lot of moon signs, right, is that me as a Sag moon, for example, fire moon, like I want to get up and move whatever I'm doing that day. I want to get up and I want to do it, and it's a challenge for me to have to wait. You know what I mean? And I think for Aries moons, it's also like that. Um, they're definitely not into clinginess, and they like act. Fire is about action. So, um, they like to just go, as I said. So, I would say the last thing I would say about Aries moon is that because sometimes they can have outbursts or anger, not everyone, but it's just obviously like a thing. It's probably better for them to have someone who can stay even keeled during those moments and not overreact to it. And I've noticed that they do well with people who just give them like they can kind of just like look at the person and it kind of calms them down, you know, if that makes sense. Like they just have that serene energy. So okay, um, Sag. So Sag Moon, my moon sign. Basically, you need a lot of freedom, and you a Sag Moon is someone who is here to learn, and because it's ruled by Jupiter, it's very optimistic. So it's like very tough to be with people who are pessimistic and people who don't see the cup as half full. Freedom and space are massive deal breakers often. So because a lot of Sag moons they, like I said, they're here to learn. So when you're learning, sometimes that does require, whether it's adventures, traveling, or a lot of time reading books, or doing whatever, type of learning, or whatever that means to you. And it's, Aquarius is kind of similar in that way, like with the freedom in space. But yeah, Sag moons are constantly growing in terms of what their understanding of truth is, right? Like they're philosophers, so they do a lot. It's not like they need someone who's from a foreign culture, but they do tend to like that cultural difference. But just someone who, on a philosophical level, they're either aligned with, or they feel like they can teach that person. Like at least someone who's malleable. Like closed mindedness is like a really huge turnoff. Um, and if it's someone who can give them, a new perspective on life, which is why a lot of them do end up with people, or like, like being with partners that are from different cultures, doesn't even necessarily mean the same. It could be the same country, just from a different background, cultural background, right? Because you learn differently. The worldview's different, right? And yeah, just like, I would say that even though it's a fire sign, yeah, it's the same thing as Aries, like that get up and go energy, lots of adventures, traveling. Um, but I've noticed like a lot of Sag moons, like they do need, want, like I could be speak. It could be my. I always just say, like when I say this, it could be my Aquarius side speak, like energy speaking, where when I talk about like the energetic resets, and kind of like obviously that need for a lot of independence, and kind of like wanting to reset the energy of the relationship if the energy gets stale. So like taking short breaks from your partner. I think it's just a great idea overall. Excuse me. I know it's not for everyone, but I think it could. Yeah, I think that when you do that, and both people, or you just have like a living situation that you're not on each other's head like nonstop, I think that for, moons like Sag and Pisces and Aquarius and lots of other ones, those are just the first ones that came to my head. I think it can be a lot better. So, anyways, yeah. Oh, a Sag moon also, like there's like this suffocation where in relationships that feel too controlling or too predictable, right? So it's like, um, the Sag moons, we tend to want someone who, it's not like they're like agreeable pushovers, but like people who are just like down to go. It's like, hey, let's go do this. Let's go on this last second trip. Let's like wake up. Let's go do this. Like they tend to like those more adventurous people. So, um, I think maybe rigidity is tough for a Sag moon. But then it's not like, Sag moons are just this like just like disorganized. I don't know. A lot of times it's like more of like it can be like an organized, not chaos, but yeah. Um, yeah, just like I would say, like just that need to be inspired by their partner to grow, and someone who shares their curiosity for life and for learning. So just no stagnancy, and that can show up in lots of different ways, right? It's not yeah. So next is Leo. So Leo moons, they, obviously need that adoration. Um, it's the inner, they want to have fun. They want to, they are people who need to be with positive people, right? They're very positive themselves, so they need to be like uplifted, right? They need to really feel like the Leo moons. They want a partner that really like has them feeling chosen, and very special. And they need to be recognized for what makes them special, because they are very giving people, and they're very talented, and they like to be the star. They need to be like the star. It's not a narcissistic thing at all. It's just Leo. Like, like this world has become so disgusted with like anything that's like the Leo archetype, right? Um, it's just like the inner child, like that childish energy in a good way, right? Like being goofy, and and yeah, just being the number one in someone's eyes. And yeah, they Leo Moons, they want, they take great pride in their partner. They'll defend their partner, and very loyal in my experience. So I would say that, yeah, they just need to like really. It's very sensitive too. Leo is very sensitive. Not a lot of people acknowledge that. Um, Fire. Yeah, like I've definitely seen how sensitive Leo can be. And yeah, I think like they just need to be able to laugh and be themselves, with that person. So the inner child needs to be able to come out and being able to laugh, being able to be in that kind of state of play. I think that's like what a Leo moon is naturally at its best. Is they're naturally at their best when they're in a state of play. So being with someone like super 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 serious and cold would be tough, but nothing's impossible. Obviously this is just the moon sign. Okay, so now as Earth, we'll talk about Virgo. So Virgo moons. So this is where it changes. Well, it changes every time. So there's a lot. So with Virgo moon is like a very when I say it's a very Virgo placement. Well, duh, but like I feel like there's more variability with Virgo suns often, but Virgo moons, you do kind of see that parallel often, like of like that reliability, right? Like the kind of this is how I do things, but on a more romantic level, it's very much like I don't want to say like practicality, but they do want someone that they can count on. There's no good. There's no there, in astrology and in life. There's no such thing as better or worse, right? There's just different. It's like this color isn't better than this color. To you, it is, right? So to a Virgo moon, they might not all are the same, right? But they won't really necessarily want the chaos or the empty promises. Like they might want someone who shows up. They might find that sexy. Someone who shows up every day, who notices the details, especially the small things they do. Like a Virgo moon is, they might they might like clean the entire house. I know that's such like a cliche thing. Okay, or they might get like a very specific gift that they remembered, like that you said the second night you met them that you liked this like I don't know. I just thought of a rock because I got a text about a rock or crystal. Like you talked about a crystal you liked, I don't know. And then they like or like yeah or like something very specific, an album, just to say a crystal, and then they go and somehow find you this super rare crystal, and you're just like, how the hell did you remember that? And that's like a very so it's like it's things like that that make Virgo so incredible, that thoughtfulness, right? Um, but yeah, I think like it's interesting when I see I've obviously had like a lot of Virgos around me in my life, and they I don't think they would like I think that's why it's so good because I don't think the Virgo moons would like someone like when I was just talking like the Sag moons and Aries moons of like let's just get up and go. It's not that they can't do that, and I my best friend's a Virgo moon, Virgo sun. He's one of the most adventurous people I know, right? So Virgo is a mutable sign, so it can literally be. That's why it's such an unpredictable sign. But in general, they like that person where you guys are going to be doing having a very similar day to day, and you can imagine getting old with that person and having like a day to day that works, and there's kind of a rhythm to that if you think about it. I think you know what it is. I think it's like they don't. Okay, this I'm getting deep on Virgo Moon because like this is like one like you could go past and like um just say the usual shit, whatever. I think they want someone who doesn't give up on themselves, you know, like Pisces and I'm not trying to single out Pisces, but like not when I say give up on themselves, I just mean inconsistent. You know, and there's some people like myself who can wake up on certain days and just it's very hard, it's just very, very hard to do life. And especially like the small little things like having breakfast at this time, then going on the walk, and then doing this, like the body is a temple, right? Like so Virgo's very, very much about that. So they want someone who's also going to care about themselves and care about um, their health, physical, mental, right? Almost like a cleanliness too. That's a big thing, Virgo Moon, right? But it's not. And I respect the hell out of that, right? They want so energetically clean, physically clean. Obviously, that kind of I feel like everyone kind of wants someone who's physically clean. But yeah, and then very since it's Mercury, very clear communication, right? Detailed. The words are precise. That the sort of abstract. It's not that they can't do the more abstract type of communication, but they prefer it to be direct. And yeah, someone who honors their commitments and makes overall, like from a very logical perspective, like makes their life better. Just they're like they are an asset, not. And that's kind of I feel like Capricorn Moon's like that too, but that's probably why they're so good together. Now on the bad side, sometimes they expect perfection in a human, and that's kind of a reflection of themselves. So that's a big thing for them too, is to kind of understand that's the whole perfectionism that gets projected, right? But yeah, and also like sometimes they can be in their own heads so much, so um it could be someone that helps them get out of their own head a little bit, that they feel very safe around, that they feel like they're not being judged, like why are you doing this, why are you doing that, why do you have to be like this, like um someone who just kind of gets them and understands, and it doesn't have to be someone that just that agrees and does the exact same thing, but at least someone that honors that, right? Because like I'm not trying to act like only people who are similar can be together. That'd be stupid. There's also the composite chart. But yeah, they want someone who takes the relationship seriously and no mind games. So yeah, okay, that was a long time on Virgo. 2754. So Taurus Moon. So let's see, Taurus. I would say like that reliability, consistency, kind of like Virgo. Taurus moons, they value peace and serenity, and I think that for them, it doesn't mean that they can't be with they have to be with someone who's 1,000,000% peaceful. Um, but I think that they kind of fall in that mantra, like they'd rather build a mansion than a bunch of mini houses. And they're totally fine with taking time to do that. There's no rush. So I think also obviously Taurus is very much about the physical senses, right? Um, so ruled by Venus too. So a more sensual kind of grounded type of love or type of partner, so that they do tend to like that closeness, right? The affection, um, be like the opposite of what I said about Aries Moon or Sag Moon, where they want to just get up and move. Not that, yeah, like Taurus Moons, it would be more like lazy Sundays in bed, going out to nice restaurants, or just keep like sometimes they can just be very easy and chill, at home and enjoying, whatever it is together, right? good film, good music, just the nicer things in life, nature. It's about Taurus Moon to me. It's like they're very naturally in the present moment. Um, the high vibe of Taurus Moon is very content. It's like earth energy, right? It's down to earth. And when you're down to earth, you're not complicated, right? You're not like this complex person with all these like side secrets and this part of you and this part of you, and you're changing every freaking day. Like you're pretty consistent of who you are, and that goes with the moons, the earth signs in general. So I think that they value consistency, at least, yeah, some level of consistency. I think the Taurus Moon cares about beauty, not in a way where it's like they're only gonna date someone who because they look good. Um, and yeah, like the big thing is just it's not a rush. It's not a rush. Venus energy, relax, and yeah, just kind of allowing themselves to being with someone who doesn't have that pressure, and like obvious things like like Taurus will loves a creative slash artistic type of bond. I just think that when you think about Taurus and you think about the word stability, you have to understand that like there's an awareness of how rocky relationships can be. The opposite sign is Scorpio of Taurus. It should tell you something about Taurus. So they are investing and really, really looking into the details of their investment, right? They don't want to. They understand how crucial a mistake could be. So that's why they are going to be very realistic. They're going to see things for what it is, not for what they wish it could be. Okay, Capricorn Moon. So these are just getting longer and longer as I go. This happens to me with these types of videos sometimes, because like first one was only 2 minutes, second one was 3, and this one was like these last ones were like 5. Damn. Okay. So hold on. So Capricorn Moon is definitely interesting when it comes to love, because well, the thing is, a good amount of people who will be watching this, the Capricorn Moons, will have Neptune or Uranus conjuncted. I just know that from experience of clients, because if you're born, I'm born in 1990, people born, I don't have the exact years, but, kind of like start of the 90s, end of the 80s, you're gonna like let me search. Let's see what it says. What year was Neptune and Uranus and Capricorn? Yeah, so Neptune. So Uranus entered in 88. And was so 88 till 96 for Uranus, and Neptune 84 till 98. So, like, my point is that, especially for suns, but for lots of Capricorns, like clients and people that are into astrology with Capricorn placements, a lot of them have like the Neptune conjunct Moon or Uranus conjunct Moon or Neptune and Uranus conjunct Moon, right? So that's like a very different type of Capricorn. But like, so it's kind of hard to speak to Capricorn in these types of things, because I know that like a Neptune Capricorn is really like a Capricorn slash Pisces, and a Uranus Capricorn is really like a Capricorn slash Aquarius. So, and that's just how it is with aspects in general. So even if you're like, let's say, born Pluto in Libra generation with Pluto conjunct Moon, well, your Moon's going to have etches of Scorpio in it, even if it's a square Moon. But anyways, okay, let me jump into Capricorn now. So Capricorn Moons, yeah, very complex. I've written full articles about them before, so I've really dove into that. They vulnerability is not usually easy. You know, a Saturn ruled moon, it can take them 30 years to really they grow into themselves in terms of being able to kind of be like not necessarily be emotional, but like be vulnerable, let them like let their true self show. Um, and I would say they need the same things that like the Virgo and Capricorn or Virgo and Taurus need when it comes to like reliability and consistency and like really seeing things as having like a true um, potential, long term potential, but then also like really being able to like logically look at the situation and be like, this person improves my life, right? Because Capricorn is about the empire, right? So they tend to be attracted to people who not just are old when Saturn rules age, so you could say that they are attracted to older people, but it's just more maturity is very attractive. um People who have something that they're doing that they're passionate about doesn't always mean money, right? But people who have, yeah, they're very attracted to people who are like who have a passion for what they're doing and who are trying to who that they themselves are trying to build something, right, with their work, whether it's building a huge business or very ambitious, right, or something, let's just say like it's like a an intellectual with their ideas. um but a lot of times, yeah. So on a karmic level, Cat Moon is people like they're a lot more sensitive than people. Opposite sign is Cancer than people give them credit for, or credit them with sometimes. So the issue with them is opening up. I've known a lot. I know a lot of Capricorn moons, and I've heard it all from like, um, a Capricorn moon girl. I know who told me that like it was took her like 3 years to open up to like this girl that was like her best friend. And that's like a very Capricorn moon thing, right? Like, can I trust this person? Or, so Capricorn moons, like when sometimes they only have like that one person, or it starts with one person that they can really truly open up to. So being themselves can be kind of tough. It's different for everyone. It obviously depends on how the moon's aspected, but like that's a struggle. It's like, can I be myself, right? Can sometimes that Saturnian rock energy will block that watery flow. So it's like they need someone who's gonna get them to really open up emotionally. So especially the men, for the men, especially Capricorn Moon men, it's not easy. So I think just the idea of like the power couple also, as I was saying before, like kind of needing to respect the other person. Also, someone with a very strong strength of, very strong strength of, a very with a lot of strength of character, and they want someone who takes the relationship and them very seriously. It's not it's not a play around type moon sign. So not that it can't be, right? But I would say that, yeah, it is kind of what I was saying before about like relationships being like an investment, right? So they're going to take their time and look at things, like how responsible is this person? How trustworthy? They will let time, because Saturn rules time, be the test, and they're in no rush either. Okay, Libra. So now we are to the last section of air. So with Libra Moon, first of all, you need, Libra Moons they have the potential to be people pleasers. A lot of them at some point in their life are, and sometimes they can be codependent too. I'm not trying to shut on Libra Moons. I'm just saying that like it's a sign that rules relationships. So they need someone who's not going to take advantage of their kindness, kind of like Pisces. Like, it can be tough for them with boundaries, and they can just give, 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 And yeah, so it's an interesting one. Like they can be so sweet and so um like they want to do everything for the other person, that sometimes that there can be like a pattern that can be that they can easily fall into, right, where they're just giving too much of themselves. And the codependency thing is where their happiness is basically based on whether they're in a relationship or not. Now, to counter that, I think it's just the right person. It's someone who understands that about them, but doesn't take it for granted. And there should be a balance, not just of balance. They do have a need for peace, a need for tranquility, a need for overall just romance and love, right? But it's in the day to day, but it's also in the person, the overall give and take of the relationship, right? Um, I've seen in Libra moons who have been with people who just take, and they just keep giving because they want that peace at all costs, and there's love anxiety that comes in the core of Libra moon, the people pleasing core, at times, right? For some, obviously the opposite sign is Aries, so you're trying to grab onto that Aries energy of assertiveness and firiness when you have to. Um, like a very chill snake, that at least that's very very, or like a cat that can, like a otter or some really cute animal that can, yeah, like a cat. Like cats so chill, but then they'll hiss at you if you, yeah. It's so cute when they hiss, but yeah. Um, I think like just someone who's not overly dominant. Um, Air moons, all like not always the best with emotions. Feeling, Libra's a little bit different than the other two, but um, for all of them there can be this like intellectualization of emotions, but they definitely need to have a strong mental connection, right? Um, but they're very very good at seeing the good in other people. So that's like a gift and a curse, Venus ruled moon, you tend to, it tends to give like a this sort of beauty within, right? Like but that need for a tranquil, almost like artistic, like life, like not as an artist, but like life is like a beautiful painting, right? So you need someone who fits into that. And the biggest thing as a Libra moon is like being able to, is learning to say no. So yeah, that harmony is huge, and they hate conflict, right? So it has to feel kind of graceful and, like almost like a shared dance. So yeah, what else? I feel like Libra moons, they love like charm, just like good vibes, affection, and like kind of, yeah, sweet, like kind of like a sweet type of love, right? Um, okay. So Aquarius moons, they are, very independent, and they need to be best friends. Aquarius rules friendships, so they need to be very very